last lesson, we took a look at frame-by-frame animation. In today's lesson, we're going to take a look at tweening. So essentially what tweening is, and that really is a vocab word in the world of animation, we are going to make a frame and then make a frame, say 10 frames away, and the computer will fill those frames in. And that particular action is called framing. So it interpolates between 2 points what you want to happen. So we are going to create a new file in Animate. We're going to go into Advanced, Action Script. We're starting with that 600 by 300. And we are ready to get started. So we are going to make sure that our stroke is set to black, our fill is set to white, and we're going to draw a stick figure again. Oh, I want to make sure our stroke is set to 3. So I am going to be using our oval tool. My stroke is to 3. I'm holding shift so head is truly round. I'm now going to the line tool, make sure my stroke is 3. This is very similar to yesterday's process, but we're going to animate him differently. So body, leg, arm, arm. Here's where our step is going to differ from yesterday. So we are going to turn our stick figure into what is called a symbol, because you have to have symbols to work with tweens. So we are going to use the selection tool, which remember is the black tool, the black arrow. And we're going to click and drag to select our whole Stickman. And then we are going to go to, I guess you can't see the top of the screen, there we go, modify, and we are going to choose convert to a symbol. And we are going to name him Stickman. And we want it to be a graphic. And we are going to leave our registration point the same and our folder the same. And we're going to click OK. And now you will see that there is a box, a blue box. This is kind of a selection box around the whole Stickman. So you should notice that he looks different than he did yesterday. If your stick figure does not look like this at this point, I know this might sound silly, but the best and easiest way to fix it is to simply close the screen and start again. Now that we have a symbol, we are actually going to create our motion tween. So we've learned about frames. Each of these individual boxes are a frame. We are going to right-click inside of frame 1, and we are going to choose motion tween. And because we have 24 frames per second, meaning we have 24 of these little boxes in 1 second, Animate automatically puts a motion tween for a second in duration. If you wanted it shorter, you can drag it back. So for today's example, we're going to drag it back to 20, just so you have experience learning that. Prepared to actually move our Stickman across the screen. So we're going to click in frame 20. This is where we want him on frame 1. On frame 20, we want him over here. So in frame 20, with the selection tool, we're going to click and drag, and I'm holding the shift key down so he stays straight. And now if I play it back, our stick figure moves across the screen. The blue line is known as your tweening line. And each of these blue dots is where you have an existing frame. Now we want our stick figure to do a little more than just slide across the frame. So we are going to go out to frame 100. You can't see the bottom of my screen right now, but there's a scroll bar here. We're going to go out to frame 100. Now that we're on frame 100, we don't need to put another motion tween in, but we do need to put in another keyframe, or put in a keyframe. So we're going to go to Insert, Timeline, Keyframe, with our selection tool, holding shift, we're going to bring our stick figure back to somewhat of his original position. Now this time, he's going to travel across the screen at the same rate of speed to the right. But when he comes back to the left, he's going to move slower because it took him 20 frames to get to the right, but he's coming back in 80 frames, so he's going to move much slower. And you see that we have many more dots because there's many more frames there that need filled in. I mean, going left to right on your stage is fine, but we want our Stickman to do things besides that. So we are going to go to frame 40. And at frame 40, you can see this is where our Stickman is. And we are going to move our Stickman. It's really important that we are grabbing the Stickman and not our tween path. So with our selection tool, we're going to grab our Stickman and bring him up. And now when we play, he will come across the screen, come up, and come back down. Now we are going to let our Stickman, program our Stickman to change size. So we're going to adjust his scale. So we are going to go to frame 20. Frame 20, he should be on the right-hand side of your screen, and we are going to introduce a new tool. So we are going to discuss the free transform tool. And when we click that, you can see that the selection around our stick figure is a little different. Okay, so this is the selection tool, free transform. And we are going to make our stick figure larger. It is important to hold the shift key down so he doesn't change his ratio. And I'm gonna just make him, as tall as the screen. His feet are gonna come off a little, but that's okay. So now if I rewind, I see that from frame 1 to 20, he is growing. And then because I made that change at frame 20, he doesn't get any bigger after frame 20, staying that same size. And I want him to actually get smaller. So at frame 40, we're going to come back in, free transform tool, shift key. Still want to be able to see him, but he's going to be much smaller. So now he's going to grow and shrink and grow. And if I want the stick figure to remain this size, I need to take a look at the size. So he has a width of 21.9 and a height of 52.3. And that's random just because I was using the shift key and clicking and dragging. If I go to frame 100, I have to go to object, I'm going to see that he has a width of 90 and a height of 215. So I can lock those together so the lock is closed, and I can change my width to 21.9, and his height will automatically change, and then that was a mistake. If I want his position to be back down here at the beginning, I can go like this. Sometimes clicking and dragging doesn't work the best there. So now if I rewind him, he should come across the screen and grow, shrink, stay the same, and come back to the beginning. I know to make a stick figure even cooler than, moving in a triangle is to make him do some flips. So to do this, we are going to add a new layer. So this is one way that Animate relates to our other programs. We're going to add a new layer, and we're going to double click to name this layer Rotate. I used enter to confirm that command. Even though we created a new layer, we have to remember our stick figure is actually in layer 1. So in layer 1, from frame 60 to 80, we are going to highlight those. So I highlighted right here, and then I'm going to click and drag those frames straight up. So it divided our bar. Now to make him rotate, we are going to go to our properties toolbar. We are going to go to our frame. Hold on a second. Properties, frame, and we want to set our rotate to clockwise, and the count just to 2. And now when we play, he should flip as he's coming back down. I'm going to play that again. So our stick figure should start out, grow, shrink, come down at an angle, start rotating, and come back to a standstill. So there are 2 ways that I would like you to turn this project in. Most importantly, we need to file, save, and this is Animate 3. We always want to save our animation file, so if we need to go back and change that file. But this particular file, this FLA, I don't want you turning that in on Google Classroom because I can't read that document. My computer, I have to actually launch that file, and that's not what we want to do. So like we did in yesterday's assignment, we are going to export as a movie, file, export as an animated GIF. When I hit save, I can choose where I want to save him. So I have an animation folder. I'm going to save him as animated 3. And I go to my folder now. Here is my character. So this is the first item that you should be submitting to me. The other piece that I would like you to submit to me is I would like to see a screenshot, and we'll say approximately, so you can zoom in and out on your timeline right here. So I want you to zoom out on your timeline and come back. I want to see frame 1 to 100 with this rotate layer. I want you to do a screenshot of this information. So you're turning in a screenshot and a GIF. Good luck. Have fun.